Thank you. We can start recording. Brilliant. So it is my pleasure tonight, can't stop smiling, to be performing and acting as the president. And I'd like to welcome all our dear members, Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. And I'm pretty sure all the faces are familiar, and we don't have any guests tonight, do we? Anyway, it's going to be a very, very special event tonight. And I want to encourage you to take as much as you can in the next couple of hours. The topic tonight is very eye-opening, and I hope some people are going to experience some breakthroughs. So first of all, I want to start this meeting with a little game. So I'd like to encourage you all to raise your hand, shake your body if you're feeling alive and lively tonight. Are we? Yes, good to see the energy. Wow, it's Monday evening. Brilliant. Now I'd like you to raise your hand if you have the ability to think. Anybody? No? Julian says no. Right, most of us. I think that's 100%. Now, I want you to raise your hand if you think that you can someday, if you wish, complete a 1 mile run. Raise your hand if you think you can. 1 mile run, anybody? Yeah, majority of us. How about 5 miles run? Put your hands up if you think you can do 5 miles run. All right, I see you. I see you. How about a half marathon? Keep your hands up if you think you can complete a half marathon. Oh, we've got some people here. Nice one. How about full marathon? Keep your hands up. Triathlon, anybody? Wow. How about ultra distance Ironman? All right. Okay. Now results speak louder. They speak louder than any words. Now, I didn't ask you to do it, people. What I did is I asked you if you think you can do it. And I think I'm strongly convinced and I'm confident we all can do it. And there are a couple of reasons for that. One, Hiram Inada, he completed an ultra Ironman when he was 85 years old. People, 85 years old. Can you imagine that? The second reason why I think we all can do it is in 2009, Rudy Garcia Tolson, a man who had his legs amputated, completed the same ultra Ironman. Now, do you still think it's not possible for you? I wonder, did these two examples make you think you can actually complete it? Raise your hand if you think that you can complete it, if it's possible for you. Okay, some more hands, some more shakes, great. What I wanted to prove is that we go through life with so many limiting beliefs. Well, these are quite easy to change as we just see now. We all think on a daily basis anyway, so why not to think big, as Donald Trump says. So now I want to encourage you all to listen to all these stories that Pam's going to be sharing tonight. And I hope you all get inspired and you expand your limiting beliefs and you think that you can do anything. So enjoy this evening and feel some great breakthroughs. Over to you, Pam.
Thank you, Ugni, and what a great introduction and what a great job as the acting president. And as Ugni's already said, the theme for this evening is you can if you think you can. And I'm going to tell you where that theme came from, because when Pei first said to me, do you want to do this? I was like, I can't do that. And then I thought of some words that my dad always used to say and still does say. And his quote is, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you'll always be right. And that's what got me round this thinking if you can, if you think you can. We'll see by the end of tonight whether I can actually do this role or not. But just a little word about Ugni's you can if you think you can, because she told me that she always used to watch others jumping and doing tricks on the ski slopes and she wanted to be able to do it. She believed that she could, so she started small and then ultimately there she was, jumping amongst athletes and doing tricks with them, which just proves you can if you think you can. So here I am thinking I can do this tonight. And it's my job tonight to keep the meeting running, to keep us running smoothly and to keep us on time. But I wouldn't be able to do this without a lot of helpers. Many of you have mithered for the last 2 weeks, probably a little bit too early as well, but I like to get everything done on time or well before time. There was a slight panic just before I came on because my printer wouldn't work. And I was thinking, see, if I'd have got this done a week ago, I could have already had this printed off. But there you go. So our first helper. This lady used to send endless letters to publishers, hoping to get a deal to publish her book. She believed she could, she didn't give up, and in 2016 got a contract and is now the proud author of 10 published books. And having read 4 of them in the last 2 weeks, I can testify that they really are page turners. Please give a big warm welcome to our timer, Diane.
Thank you, Toastmaster, and good evening, everybody. The role of the timer is to provide timing signals and to report on the timings of table topics answers, prepared speeches and evaluations. But of course, this evening we won't be doing table topics because it's a speech-a-thon. Signals will be given when we reach the minimum time using a green screen, which is this one. When we get halfway between the minimum time and the maximum time, I'll display a yellow screen. And when we reach the full time allowed for any speech, I will show that by using a red screen. I will also report on the timings reached at the end of each section. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane, and a lovely clear introduction to the timekeeper's role. And as Diane said tonight, there are no table topics because tonight is a special meeting. It's a speech-a-thon and we've got 5 lovely prepared speeches for you coming up. So our next helper believes that he can. So he's currently relearning how to speak and write in Persian. So please give a big warm welcome to our counter, and that's Sep.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. سلام، اسم من سپر است و امشب کار من شماره‌گیران است. Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and guests. That was me saying in Persian, my name is Seper and I will be your counter for the evening. The purpose of the counter is to note words and sounds that are used as a crutch or pause filler by anyone who speaks. During the meeting, I will be listening for overused words such as and, well, but, so, and, you know. I will also be listening for filler sounds like and At the end of the meeting, I will report the number of times each speaker used these expressions. Thank you, Madam Toastmasters. Back to you.
Thank you, Sep, and we look forward to your report at the end of the meeting. So our next helper tells me that she struggled to study for exams when she was at university, but because she believed she could, she crammed in her revision at the last minute and left university with a master's degree in data science. Please give a big welcome to our grammarian, Martina.
Thank you, Pam, for the introduction. I'm your grammarian tonight, so my duty is to listen to your language and report at the end of the evening. I will also introduce the word of the day tonight. But because I'm a bit undecisive, and I was thinking of how we often overuse words like great or amazing. I decided that we could maybe change these words a little bit tonight for a little bit of different ones. So if I look at the words that come up as a synonym, I don't ask you to read them all because there are many, but from these ones, I picked 3 of them. In this case, astounding, phenomenal, or flabbergasting. You can also use them in a different way, like flabbergasted. I was flabbergasted about something, meaning I was greatly surprised in a positive way. So if you keep using these words tonight, I'll be counting them and I will report at the end who did the best job. Thank you.
Thank you, and some great words of the day. I will be astounded if I manage to get any of those in tonight. So now we're moving on to our prepared speeches. We have, as I said before, we've got 5 speeches coming up for you tonight. But our first speaker tells me he couldn't speak in public at the beginning of this year, but he believed in himself. And because he believed in himself, he pushed forward, and look at him now with his speech from the Leadership and Development Pathway entitled The Forever Student. Please give a big Manchester Communicators welcome to Ilya.
What is the mentor? To me, a mentor is anyone that I learn from. When I was thinking about what to write to the speech, it's dawned on me that I learn from everyone every day. My 2-year-old son teaches me how to negotiate. My 5-year-old son teaches me patience. My 13-year-old son teaches me to understand a language that I never know exists. My fiance may listen this speech, so she's obviously my biggest teacher and showing how to love, how to be best version of myself, and how to load a dishwasher properly. Apparently is the art. My current mentors outside of my family have been the authors of my favorite books. My first personal development books that I read in January this year was Beach Money by Jordan Adler. He mentioned that he wishes he started his public speaking before an early stage of his business career, because it's a valuable skill, especially in social marketing. I took his advice and started searching for a course or a club. Luckily, I found this club and I felt very welcome. I remember that night, wintry night, when I was on my way to Manchester Communicators Monday evening session. I nearly turned my back. With every step I walked towards that session, my heart was like racing like a horse. And I was asking myself, what are you doing? You're crazy. My throat was so dry, like I was face down in the desert under scorching sun, spitting sand. But my instincts were told me, burn those bridges, burn those boats. There is no way back. Face your fears. It's worth it. And that probably was my best decision ever made. My second author, phenomenal, inspirational, and very famous Tony Robbins. In his book, Awaken Giant Within, it simply explains how you can change anything in your life by making a decision and changing your belief system. He's also very energizing you. He can make you feel like you can go an Everest naked. You can do it. In his other book, Unleash the Power Within, he explains how you can teach or learn by using the metaphors. For instance, he says how to understand physicists who are explaining how the nuclear bombs it works. For our, we just don't know. He will say atoms and molecules. For us, it's unknown words. But if the physician compare atoms to bread, molecules to sandwich, we already certainly understand what he's talking about, from unknown to known. My third author and mentor is Joe Dispenza. He's the next level for creating your future by the power of meditation, your own thoughts and energy. His words, everything is created twice. First, in your imagination, then in reality. Joe Dispenza himself in the past had in a car accident when he had lots of operations where the doctors told him he will never able to walk unless they do another operation that they put metal sticks in his back. He refused that surgery. He was concentrating on meditation. He cured himself. He is alive and well today. He's walking miracle. And he dedicated his life to help others. Reading for me, like an aided discovery, it is learning from absent teacher. The books that I read in the last year alone have changed my life, my mindset, and my future. I have grown in confidence, got a new job that I love, and I have a huge plans. I can recommend some brilliant books should anyone require help with their own vision for a life crystal life. It is obvious that teaching is very special art. A teacher may help his students in many ways, but it is the students himself who must do work and learning. I am now a mentor both to my business and to my own family. Like I said at the beginning, we all teach each other something in life, and we all learn something new. We are all mentors in our own right. Thank you.
Thank you, Ilya. So in the chat box, there is a form for you to give some feedback. So if I could just ask Diane to put 1 minute on the clock while everyone gives Ilya some feedback, please. Or you can give me the thumbs up if you're done. You can carry on writing your feedback anywhere while we introduce our next speaker. So our second speaker certainly believes in you can if you think you can, as he learnt to scuba dive in open water. So with his speech from the Dynamic Leadership Pathway entitled Buddy System, please give a big warm welcome to Paul Banks.
The instructor held up a card. You've passed. Okay, great. Well, that's what I thought in my head. However, the only way to get that message across was to actually give an okay sign. Because that's what you do when you're 18 meters below the surface of the water, scuba diving in a quarry. The water visibility was murky all the way around us, and our face masks limited our view. I said our for a reason, because one of the important rules of scuba diving is to always dive as a buddy pair, to always dive with somebody else. There are 3 reasons for this. 1, social. It's more relaxing to dive with somebody else and to have somebody follow you on that journey. 2, point of view. Another diver is able to see you from different points of view and able to make sure that you're on the right course and following the right route. And 3, backup. So just in case you've got any problems with your tools or equipment, you've got a buddy there who's able to provide some help and assistance. And what I'd like to do, as we're moving into 2021 and goals will be set, I'd just like to move into a quick presentation and share that with you. So it's something to practice. Thank you. Albert Einstein said, if you want to live a happy life, tie it to a goal, not to people or things. So, number 1, going back to our principle of buddy diving, sharing goals with a buddy. Share your goals, share the journey, number 1. Share the goals and the aspirations with somebody that you know, someone who can keep you accountable every week. Ensure that your goal and your buddy has a regular weekly call to hold you accountable for your process. The point of view. Use a buddy, a goal buddy, to give you a new point of view on your goals. A buddy will keep you on the route and towards your original goal, and discussing the process each week with a buddy will make you more aware of the things that push you off your course. And finally, 3, backup. Use your goal buddy to ensure that you're using the best technology to track and monitor your process. Your buddy can track your progress with their tools and their equipment to ensure that you have the results and the accurate information that you need to progress. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. And again, in the chat box will be the forms for you to do an evaluation for Paul. So we could ask Diane just to put 1 minute on the clock again while you do your evaluations for Paul. Thank you, Diane. And again, if you're still writing your evaluation, please carry on with that for Paul. So our next lady is a great example of believing that you can, because not only did she have a fear of speaking in public, but she had a fear of speaking English in public. But because she believes she can, she pushed through and is now on to level 3 of her pathway. So with a speech from level 3 on the presentation mastery pathway, with a speech entitled Digest It, please give a big welcome to Ellen.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ellen. Today, I'm going to talk about something of life. Many years ago, when I studied at medical university, one day I remembered before the class, our teacher held a piece of chalk in his hand and asked us a question. Who can tell me which part do you think is the most powerful part of our body? Me. I raised my hand without any delay. What an easy question, isn't it? Okay, you, that girl. Yes, I was picked up. Our brain, I answered loudly. No, it's not the answer. My teacher shook his head. What? I couldn't believe my ears. And later on, my classmates gave different answers. Heart, eyes, hands, and on and so on. But none of these was the correct answer. Finally, our teacher wrote down a word on the blackboard with the chalk in his hand. Gut. Yes, it's our gut. It is our gut, which goes through our body from mouth to the bottom. It is the most powerful part of our body, just because of its astounding function of digestion. It's true. You see, whatever, no matter what types of food we eat, and no matter how solid the food is, and no matter what the flavor the food has, our gut just followed one order: digest it. After that, our gut will take in energy, absorbs nutrient to support our body. The whole process is simple but powerful. Actually, our life is the same. Along our journey of life, each of us may encounter millions of different things: good things, bad things, happy things, sad things, successes, failures, difficulties, fears, and even disasters. All these things are more like different types of food with different flavors. But whatever they are, good or bad, they are all parts of our life. When we face them, the only thing we should do is to digest it. You can break it down into several questions. Where, when, who, what, why, and how. Just try to answer these questions. Once you're finished, you would find the key points of the thing and the true reasons behind it. All these things are the energy. All these things, you can think about it, and you can learn lessons, and you can accumulate knowledge and even reach your experience. All these are the energy and the nutrients for us we need to sustain us on the journey into the next new stage of life. A few years ago, before I moved to the UK, before I start, I had been struggling with go or not go. This question went on and on and on in my head. But I knew I had to make a decision. So I just sat down and took out a piece of paper and wrote down the first question. Why do you want to move to the UK? The answer is, I just want to unite with my husband there, and I want to open my will. Why do you hesitate to do that? Just because of fears. What do you fear? The new environment, English, between your marriage and to avoid the fears. Which one do you think is the most important thing to you? Marriage. Do you know if you have to live in the UK, do you know what you need to do? I think I know. I need to learn new things. I need to meet new people, and I need to improve my English. Are you afraid of learning? Not at all. I am good at learning. But why are you still here? Come on, hurry up, do it. Then I'm here now. So our dear fellow Toastmasters and guests, when you face anything bad in your life, please don't fear. Please don't panic. Don't struggle. Just stand up bravely and digest it. Because you can. If you think you can. Okay, thank you very much. Back to Paul.
Thank you, Ellen. Some great advice there. So again, in the chat box is the link for the feedback. If Diane could give us 1 minute on the clock again while you give Ellen some feedback. Thank you, Diane. So our next speaker was a believer, but she believed in her powers of persuasion. And even though she was on the wanted list at the library for non-payment of fines or non-return of books, she still managed to convince the librarian that she needed a book and she had to have it that day. So because she believed, she did, and she got it. She did tell me she resorted to bribes and emotional blackmail, but hey, it paid off. So giving a speech entitled An Office Away from Home from the Innovative Planning Pathway, please give a big welcome to Michelle.
Before March 2020, a normal working day for me looked a bit like this. I would get home, I would get up and get ready at home. I would get in my car and I will drive to work listening to either a podcast or a wicked music playlist. When I arrived in the office, I would speak to Lisa first because her desk was the closest to the reception. And Lisa would share another story about how her son that was 3 years old would really drive her mad. She nearly was late for work again that day because of him. Then we go to reception and speak to Sinead, and she would tell me about her new hair color and we would discuss her ever-changing hair color. Then I would head upstairs into the hot desking room and I would look out for my favorite place to sit on and see if it was free or not. No matter where it was free or not, I would pick a seat, I would set my workspace up, and I would plug in my work laptop and I would head towards the kitchen to make a hot drink. On my way to the kitchen, I would stop outside the manager's office to say hi to them. And then in the kitchen, I would make a hot brew, Earl Grey tea every time. And throughout the day, me and my colleagues would share projects we were working on, we would share ideas, we would advise each other and have spontaneous conversations about everything and nothing. I really love the serendipity that came out of that office space. But now, if you fast forward to dark, wet, miserable November 2020, I'm 8 months into working from home. It's just me, myself, and I, and the 4 walls in my living room. The commute at work with great playlists and great podcasts is not happening anymore. There's no Lisa complaining about her son, and there's no Sinead with a new hair color. And colleagues, they're nowhere to be seen. There's no one to get an opinion from. There's no one to complain to. There's no one to find empathy from, and there's no one to share good news with. Who am I going to check with information with now? There's nobody. All the interactions I have are either on the phone or on Zoom or Skype or Microsoft Teams. The conversation just don't flow the same that way. It's just very stale. It's not phenomenal at all. So I feel very disconnected from not just my colleagues, but also from the community groups that I'm still supporting, but from a distance. That made me wonder, like, what did people actually do before we all started working in the office? Now, working in an office is not actually a new thing. Before the times of having office spaces like we know now, actually all office work happened in people's homes. For example, if you owned a shop, chances were that you lived above your shop. And if you employed people to help with administrative tasks or to help with domestic staff, chances were they lived there with you above that shop. In the UK, it wasn't until the 18th century when you start seeing the first purpose-built office blocks. The first one was built, there were 2 of them, they're both in London. The first one was built in 1726. It was called the Admiralty Office, and it was built for the Royal Navy. And the second one was built in 1729, and that was for the India Company, that was the East India Company that were doing loads of trading in colonial India at the time. And then since then, the popularity of purpose-built office have grown and grown and grown. And even anthropological research shows that there is an important aspect of people being in the office. We interact differently. Having this physical proximity of people being in the same space shows that teams, working in teams drive innovation, and having those chance encounters drive creativity. And employees have picked up on that having a defined working space connects people and helps them working together for a common goal much better. And it also enables better communication and facilitates teamwork a lot better as well, and collaboration work. So clearly there's loads of benefits of working in the office. And imagine if we all still work from home, we wouldn't have all of this. So for now, I just have to make do and stop complaining about this isolation that I constantly have, because I might as well make the most out of the situation that I'm in. So to do that, I've decided to look into what actually happens, or what can you actually do to improve or to make your time working at home a lot better. So I started looking online and I found loads of information, and there's a few that I decided to start trying. One of the ones that works really well for me is to set a routine so I can prepare myself for work every day. So every weekday, I take a 45 minutes walk in either the park or the nearby woodland, and it sets me off for the day. And also, it has become a new commute. So whilst I'm in the woods, I listen to my music or listen to my podcast, and it's great. It makes you excited to start work. And the other thing I start doing is to have a clear corridor space in my living room where my office is. That's where all work happens. So then when you finish work, you can leave and you can disconnect. And that clearly put a sign where you know where your work life starts or when your home life starts. But the most important thing that I learned is to reach out to my colleagues, because we're all sharing this abnormal new experience that we're not getting used to. Because in my work, we normally work face-to-face with the public, and we've lost all of that all of a sudden, and it's been very hard for all of us, because we're all feeling disconnected, not just from our work, but from each other as well. So it's important for our own well-being to make sure that what we're experiencing right now is okay. And there's nothing wrong with feeling that way. It's normal to miss the social interactions with your colleagues. It's normal to feel anxious about having lower work productivity. But what we need to remember is that if we reach out to each other, make sure that we all feel that this experience will finish and it will go away. And one day in the near future, we'll all be able to reconnect in an office somewhere. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. And again, some good advice. But I have to say, I'm kind of glad my work colleagues don't live with me in the flat above my shop. So if we could have a minute on the timer again, please, Diane, and the link is in the chat box. Lovely, thank you. So our fifth and final speaker. After his studies, his mum encouraged him to come to the UK to practice his English. She suggested he came for 3 months. Because he believed he could, I'm pleased to say that after 12 years, he's still here with us. Please give a big welcome to Julian with his speech entitled Leadership. Julian.
Leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, bear with me because today I'm going to speak for 15 minutes. But I think it's a topic very interesting to every single one of you. Leadership. You know, 18 months ago, Manchester Communicators was set up. And oh boy, believe me, we have done great. Between you and me, don't brag outside, but did you know that we are at this moment the 3rd most populous Toastmaster club in the UK and Ireland, District 71? That says a lot of the people who belong to Communicators. But I don't want to brag. I want to show you the opportunities we have in the club and outside the club to develop different kinds or roles of leadership. So let's dive in with Manchester Communicators. When we set up the club, we wanted to provide a wide canvas for leaders so they could experiment what was leading in different situations. First, we have the day-to-day, where we will have to deal with the meetings. We will have to deal with bringing members into the club, keep them happy, make them pay. That's important. That's the day-to-day. And every single business needs that day-to-day routine. And here we do it. How do we bring the people into the club? What do we do when they are here? Those are questions that need to be answered. Roles of leadership that you can take during the meeting are the Toastmasters. Of course, he is the man or the woman in charge of running the show. The Topics Master, that's the person in charge of asking questions and making sure that everybody is engaged. Also, evaluators. A good leader needs to know how to give feedback. So use these roles to improve your leadership skills. But also, the club has a group of people that run the club and take decisions on behalf of all. Who are those? Well, those are the committee members. Here on this picture that you can see here was the last physical committee meeting we had, and after that we arranged a meal and we have a lot of fun, that's for sure. But this committee meeting is in charge of taking decisions on how the club is run. When we have this coronavirus outbreak, we have to decide, what do we do? Shall we stop the club at all? Many clubs around the world did that. Or maybe shall we move online? How often do we have to run the meetings online? We decide at that moment that 4 was the ideal number to keep the people engaged and to provide a canvas for happiness, having a good time, and improve your skills. Now, few months later, the new committee has decided to reduce it to 2. That's fine. That's what the committee does. Take decisions on behalf of the club, looking to improve the quality of the club. Now, it seems that we have a vaccine. What are we going to do with our overseas members? We will have to find something to accommodate them, because it is true that Kenesha is not going to come to Manchester every single Monday, is he? Well, you never know. So these are the decisions the committee takes. And those are the decisions that you can also help to take. If you have an idea how you want the club to be run, say it, share it with the committee members. Or even better, next year, become part of the committee member, because it's going to help you to understand what this club is all about. But let's carry on. We have another thing that we call mentorship. Unfortunately, when we start, we were only 5 Toastmaster members, and the rest of you were completely new to Toastmasters. For us, it was very difficult to provide mentorship for everyone. Now things have changed. Many of you have been here for several months. And now it's time where the committee is working in setting up a mentorship program where a new member will join and he will be given a mentor. This mentor will guide this new member through the Toastmasters universe. And it can be quite daunting because there are so many opportunities that when we join, we don't really grasp them. So you can be a mentor. You can practice your leadership skills being a mentor. What do you need to do for that? Well, you need to have level 2. And I'm pretty sure that Some of you are already reaching that level too. Now, well, Manchester Communicators belongs to a district that we call District 71. As you can see in this chart, clubs are at the bottom. We are Manchester Communicators. Above us, there is the area. In Manchester, Greater Manchester is area 48, and there are 5 clubs in this area. One of them is Manchester Communicators, another one Salford Speakers, another one Advanced Orators, Disbury Speakers, and finally we have Manchester Orators, that was the original one. Above them we have the Division N. This is a geographical area that goes from Chester to Newcastle. So it's quite a lot of distance there, and you can find there several clubs. Clubs like Manchester Communicators, that they are in other areas. Above the division, we have the district, District 71, that brings the north of London to Scotland and Ireland together. Here there are thousands of Toastmasters, I think around 4,000 Toastmasters, which belong to different clubs. District 71 is like a big committee for the whole country, takes decisions of what the district should be trying to achieve. And above the district, we have Region 10, that is Europe. Again, more districts come together and form a region. And on top of the pyramid is the Toastmasters International Organization. Why do I tell you this? Well, on every single step, there is an opportunity for you, if so you wish, to be a leader. When I joined Toastmasters, the first meeting, the second meeting, I asked, what is the committee? And they explained me, the committee is where the club committee members join or meet and deliver the future of the club. Can I join? Nah, don't join. That's for losers. When somebody tells you it's for losers, you, if you don't know it, try to believe it. But what I found out years later when I become part of the committee is that it's a very enriching and fulfilling opportunity to develop your skills. And I will encourage all of you at some point to take at least one role in the club committee. But that's not all. Here in Manchester, traditionally, we have not pushed people to take other roles on the area. For instance, last year, I had the opportunity to be area director. Well, the area director, what does is oversees the different clubs in the area. Here you can see a picture of the competitors in the humorous speech contest. You can see Stacy, who was representing us, and Arnold, who was representing Advanced Orators. Why is it important to be area director at least? Well, if you want to become distinguished Toastmaster, and distinguished Toastmasters is the highest accolade you can achieve in Toastmasters, you need to develop 1 year as a leader for the district. And the easiest way to do it is being area director, because you know the people in Manchester, you know that we, the club, Manchester Communicators, can help you. Of course, you could be area director in a different area, for instance, in Ireland, but who do you know in Ireland? Who do you know in Dublin? It's going to be more difficult for you. So that's one of the things we are aiming here. Help our members to become distinguished Toastmasters and to do different leadership positions. Let me talk briefly about the DC point. Whenever you guys finish a level, is marked on a spreadsheet. Whenever 4 people finish, for instance, the level one, we get a point. In order to measure the success of the club or how good clubs are, we have to score 10 points that, as I say, go in different ways. Achieving educational awards, going to trainings, paying on time. This is important because, as you know, Manchester Communicators is a vibrant club, very busy and very good, but we have to show it off. That's the reason why we have to score always 10 points. 10 points, not 9, as we did last year. And finally, we have recognitions. Yes, of course, this is the picture of me being area director of the year. What does this mean? Okay, when you are director of an area, you have to do several roles. One of them is writing reports and advising the people, the clubs, how to become better, how to improve the experience. And more important, and this is very important, you have to set up a new club. A new club will give you the recognition in the district to become area president area or to improve your ranking in the classification. Why is, but this is not for Toastmasters, this is for us. As a person that has been or has set up a club, I think that the ultimate goal in Toastmasters is you to set up a club on your own. Of course, you will have the help of Toastmasters and Manchester Communicators, but when you develop a club, you learn so much skills that you didn't know you had. You will have to bring your A game. You will have to convince people. In my case, I spent 3 years trying to convince people to set up a club because I saw that the clubs in Manchester were very popular, but I could not convince anybody until one day Shamanda said, let's do it. And finally, we got together and we set up these Manchester Communicator clubs we attend every Monday or every 2 Mondays. So what I want to say is that here at Manchester Communicator, we provide you with a lot of different opportunities to develop your leadership skill. And I encourage you not to be comfortable, but to push yourself, to challenge yourself and try to do different leadership roles, because it will be good for you, it will be good for the people around you, and it will be good for Toastmasters.
Thank you, Julian. Well, I've just learned something because I could never understand areas, divisions, districts, and so on. So I've learned a little bit tonight. So the form is in the chat for feedback. If you could do that for me, if Diane could put a minute on the clock. And I'm sure if you'd like to join the committee, Julian would also like to hear from you. Thank you, Diane. So we've reached the end of our speeches, and before I ask you to vote for the speaker you found the best, I'm just going to ask Diane to give us a quick report on the timings to see if everybody qualified for the vote.
Okay, so the first speech, Ilya, that came in at dead on 6 minutes. So just on the amber. Second speech, Paul, unfortunately that fell a bit short and came in at 3 minutes 56 seconds. Our third speaker, Ellen, came in at bang on 7 minutes. So just going on into the red. Speaker number 4, Michelle, went only just over at 7 minutes 7 seconds, but still within the permitted time. And our last speaker, Julian, came in at 14 minutes 48 seconds, so he was in the amber. Thanks.
Thank you, Diane. I'm just checking, do we allow Paul in for the vote? No, I've had a no on that, I'm sorry. So if we could put the voting forms into the chat box, and if you could all vote and just give me the thumbs up when you're done. So sorry, Paul, because your time was short, you're not eligible for the vote tonight. Okay, so lots of thumbs up there. I think we're ready to move on. So we've reached the part of the evening, which is the evaluations. Somebody said to me today, let me get this quote right from him, evaluations are the breakfast of champions. Without he knows who he is. Without evaluations, we can't grow, we can't learn. So they really, really are an important part of the meeting. Our first evaluator learned not to quit and believed she could when installing a bathroom. Everybody that came round wanted to drill a big hole in the wall, but she didn't want that. So she believed she could find the right person for the job, and she did. Please give a big welcome to our first evaluator, evaluating Ilya's speech. Please welcome Pei.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster, and dear guest, but most importantly, Ilya. To begin, Ilya positioned as the #1 speaker. You used it to your full advantage and grabbed that limelight very naturally. How did Ilya capture the audience so effectively? He did this by using up personal stories of his loved ones, learned negotiation skills with his 2-year-old, patience with his 5-year-old, learned to communicate with his 13-year-old son in a new generation language, and last but not least, his biggest mental support and cheerleader, Beyonce. I especially enjoyed the humor injected about the loading a dishwasher, and I stand by her. Yes, very important. That opener had me hooked, and I would gladly listen to your whole speech if it were centered around them. But no, there's more coming. You shared with us 3 books from Jordan Adler, Tony Robbins, and George Spencer on how each of them impacted you, changed your mindset, where you painted a picture of a palatable 3-course meal. You handpicked these materials to help structure your speech and made it a really well-constructed and persuasive concept that it had a really good structure, I felt, where eventually you linked it up all back to how these books has enriched your life and act as your life mentors. I especially can resonate with your story reminiscing your first experience of attending Toastmaster physical meeting in a cold wintry night. You described it as you approached the venue, that the heart racing, that dry throat. Here, I spotted an area where you can improve on your vocal variety. At the time when you were talking about how that other voice were telling you to quit, to escape, to leave, to not face, you could have changed and used a different tonality, perhaps. It will make your story more alive. And secondly, when you ended your speech by saying we're all mentors in our own right, I felt you could have used more energy in your voice so you can end on a high. I understand Ilya, when he wrote his speech, he did not have as much time as he would like to prepare, and he asked me to observe whether he was confident in delivering his speech. I observed you were very confident throughout your speech. The spoken language was clear and easily understood. There were practically no filler words, and you appeared really comfortable with the audience, and you took the time to pause before telling us the important message, and you delivered your speech in elegance. Most importantly, I'm running out of the time, but thank you so much, Ilya, for sharing with us your phenomenal impact from these experiences. Back to you, Madame Toastmaster.
Thank you, Pei. So our second evaluator tells me she isn't a big believer in the saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. But she is a big believer in you can handle anything. She said, if it kills you, it kills you. You won't know much about it anyway, so crack on. So cracking on tonight with our evaluation of Paul is Elena.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight I have the pleasure to evaluate Paul's speech, that is Buddy System. His goal for tonight, or project for tonight, was to practice his nonverbal communication skills and be able to do a speech with effective body language. This is what he wanted me to focus on, how he used body language to present his speech and send his message. From the start, I must say that Paul had a very good posture and he put the camera very well. So we were able to see him from the waist up, which allowed him to use his hands a lot, show them to us. The distance was also great because he was able to reach to us without feeling like he's grabbing us. I feel like this was very well done. What I would suggest for you is maybe cut down a little bit on the gestures with the hands, because at some point they become a little bit distracting as you were literally pointing out almost every word that could kind of distract the listener. Another, perhaps there is one more thing that you could a little bit work on is and we should address the elephant of the room, that is, you didn't manage to reach the minimum of the speech, which is 5 minutes. You were able to go for only 3 minutes and 56 seconds. I believe that that was a little bit of nervousness, perhaps, or maybe you weren't able to fill it up with enough content. I would recommend just writing down your ideas a little bit more elaborative and having more that you will definitely miss, because that happens to all of us. We just get, well, overwhelmed. Another part that I'm very impressed is that you try to combine what Zoom was able to give us by giving us a little bit of presentation. I think that was a very good attempt. However, it did give you a little bit of difficulty, so I would recommend for you to practice a little bit more on starting them and not, because it took about 30 seconds for you to put them on. Also, I would like to point out Julian's great usage of this tool, which he also explains how to use it in his book, Zoom Like a Pro. I feel like it is a very, very good opportunity for you to learn how to do it and bring those digital tools within your favor, but still very well done and good attempt of giving us a little bit extra. And finally, I did love your voice. You were very calm and were able to explain and walk us through this, just a little bit more content walk us through the story because it was so exciting. And I was waiting for us to tell us what is scuba diving and how we can do it and excite us, which cut a little bit short, but I'm hoping the next time you'll be able to do it. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Alina. Our third speech evaluator shows that believing you can always pays off. Joseph didn't think he'd be a parent, but is now the proud dad to a 13-year-old son. Please welcome Joseph, who's going to evaluate Ellen's speech. Joseph.
Thank you very much, Pam. Good evening, everyone. I have the pleasure of evaluating Ellen's speech, and what a pleasure it is. Ellen began by looking very confident. Her position was very central. She stood up tall, nice and confident. And then she began to run through her speech. It was a very clear delivery. There was a huge amount of variety in the tonality. In fact, I would say that of all the people that speak within our club, Ellen has possibly one of the best varieties and ranges of tone and different voices that is very, very impressive, very impressive. One of the things that I really enjoyed about it, and one thing that I wanted to commend her for, was the idea that she kept coming back to it, this idea of digest it. Yes, it was the title of the speech, but it was almost like a chorus in a song. She would get to a point and then this big emphatic hand gesture, digest it. And then she would bring us back and continue, and then back to that, digest it. That repetition just helps to keep everything clear, and it imprints it in the audience's mind. So some fantastic things for people to learn there. One recommendation that I would have was that I did catch, and I only noticed this because I do it all the time, I did notice that Ellen at one point looked up to try and remember what was coming next, and I just caught her off guard, just doing that. Ellen, that aside, fantastic delivery, really confident in what you were saying, great connection with your audience, lovely imagery. I was just very, very, very impressed and astounded by your delivery. So congratulations, and back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Joseph. So I just know this guy already believes he can, and I have no doubt he could overcome anything. Not only does he believe in himself, he believes in everybody around him. And I'm convinced if we cut him in half, he would have Toastmasters running right through the middle. Since I've joined Manchester Communicators, he's been an absolute rock to me and answered every question I've thrown at him. And believe you me, there's been many. So please give a big welcome to, he's my rock, he's your rock, he's our rock. Please welcome Ola, who is going to be evaluating Michelle.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. It is a rare, great privilege to evaluate Michelle with that topic, which is an office away from home. That was a very captivating topic, and I believe many of we, the audience, was able to connect to the topic. She started very well by experimenting and delivering a speech with good skills of storytelling, making descriptive analysis of how it is like when she goes to the office, activities they get involved in, drinking the mug, the side conversations and treats. And that made it very easy for we, the audience, to be able to connect to her speech and also be in the same mood of relating to how our normal activities are at work, and also facing the reality of the lockdown, which has made many of us and ourselves also working from home. As she said, 8 great months working from home. Part of the recommendation I would love to deliver to Michelle, as I observe her hand gestures, as obvious as she was on the camera, it would have been great having her having a full posture whereby we can be able to see more of her hands doing the movement, or she's standing delivering this great speech. More so, it would have been lovely for her to connect with the audience, making use of different props while giving the speech. She made reference to the mug. As you can see, Pay drinking from the mug. That would have been a very good illustration for we, the audience, to connect well. also her emotional expression. It would have been great feeling how she felt working at home for a good 10 months, which was really not what we all enjoyed. Expressions like that will captivate the audience beyond just words. It was also very a bit obvious at some point she was reading from the script. As a great speaker, which we believe during the physical presentation, that may not be expected based on our level. It would be great she work on that. In general, I can say Mitchell has been able to fulfill part of the objective of connecting to the audience with an unfamiliar topic. And I need to say, I appreciate usage of great words she said, me, myself, and I. Great connections also encouraging us to say, we all are able to reconnect and connect and giving us hope irrespective of how challenging it is working from home. Definitely, Mitchell, you have fulfilled the objective of your speech. And I can't wait to listen to your next speech as you are better than you can. Keep doing the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Ola. So another believer in you can, if you think you can, is our next evaluator. He used Toastmasters as his example and said, initially, it's terrifying, but it gets easier with each role and each speech you do. I'm not convinced. I'll get back to you on that one at the end of the night. But please give a big welcome to Stephen, who will be evaluating Julian's speech. Stephen.
Thanks, Pam. So Julian gave a speech based on the leadership aspects of Toastmasters. And as always, Julian was clear and engaging, and he was very easy to understand. And it was also one of the most serious speeches I've seen Julian give. But he wanted to know if the speech was cohesive and easy to follow. And I thought so. The speech was divided into clear topics, and the slides added to this, providing a visual structure of the flow of the speech. So I did find it very easy to follow. I also like the fact that Julian kept on flipping in and out of the slides, which I've not really seen before, and it seemed to add to the professionalism of what he was saying. I did find a couple hard to read, but I don't think that really distracted from it of what they added to the speech. And it was split into clear areas and displayed on the slides: the committee, the mentorship program, the hierarchy of areas, to becoming a distinguished Toastmaster and setting up a new club. And Julian gave a good introduction and explanation of each area and what we can expect. And each area did flow into the other quite well. And since Julian was using the slides, maybe towards the end of the speech, he could have used them more to provide a bit of a breakdown for the latter, larger sections. And other than that, it was a very clear and engaging explanation of the leadership aspects of Toastmasters. And I now have a far greater understanding of what being a leader at Toastmasters is. So he's achieved that. Thank you, Julian.
Thank you, Stephen. So just before we go to the vote for the evaluators, can I just ask Diane to give us a quick report on timings for the evaluations, please?
Okay, remove my glasses so I can read the paper. Okay, our first evaluator, Pay, who was evaluating Ilya's speech, came in at 3 minutes 14 seconds. Second, Elena, who was evaluating Paul's speech, came in at 3 minutes 10 seconds. Third, Joseph, who was evaluating Ellen's speech, came in at 2 minutes 10 seconds. Our fourth evaluator, Ola, who was evaluating Michelle's speech, came in at 2 minutes 43 seconds. And our fifth evaluator, Stephen, came in at 1 minute 40 seconds. And that was to evaluate Julian's speech.
Lovely. So everybody is eligible for the vote, and that will be in the chat box now. That's lovely, thank you. So working away in the background has been our R counter, Sep. So I'm going to invite Sep back to the stage to give his report on the R counter. Sep.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Yes, so I have all the names here and the counts for people for the R counter. So Nick had none. Ugni had none. Pam had none. Diane had none. Martina had none. Ilya, none. Paul, none. Sorry, my apologies. Paul had one. Ellen had one. Michelle had one and 4 Julian Pay had none. Ola had none, and Stephen none. Thank you. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Seth, for a very comprehensive report. It looks like we've all upped our game tonight, doesn't it? So somebody else that's been listening in the background and is ready, hopefully, to give us her report is our grammarian, Martina.
Thank you, everyone. What a great meeting, right? But I said I will avoid these kind of expressions because they are way too common and everyone says great and amazing. However, I heard a lot of lovely words tonight. From the selection that I picked for you tonight, I will show you quickly if I can share my screen. All right, so we had only 2 of those words used, which was astounding and phenomenal. Astounding 3 times, phenomenal 2 times. We unfortunately didn't use flabbergasting, which I'm very sad about. But we can see everyone, this doesn't fully match for some reason, but we had Ellen with 3 counts, Ilya twice, Joe 3 times, Pam and Pei. And that's all from the words. I'll now stop sharing. And I'll share with you some of the picks that I had from what you said. So Ilya came with a sentence. He can make you feel like you can climb the Everest naked. That point there was slightly too specific or too detailed, but from the grammatical point of view, quite interesting. Ellen, there are a few nice picks from Ellen, but I would pick the way she was speaking to herself in a way. She said, "Why are you still here? Come on, hurry up, do it." A way of expressing, speaking to herself, but also speaking to everyone around. I also like the way Michelle expressed just me, myself, and I, expressing the one person in 3 ways. And also she pointed out the 4 walls in the living room. I believe my time is over, so I will give the rest of the report personally. Thank you.
Thank you, Martina. So I always think of this bit as like the end of the show, our general evaluators report. He also, I think, is another rock in Manchester Communicators, has been really supportive, has answered every question I've thrown at him. But not only that, he's also good at security. So because he believed he could, after he'd had his shed broken into, he went out and bought a load of metal bars and taught himself to weld and made a secure cage within his garden shed. So if you're having problems with security, you know who to ask. Please give a big welcome to Roger, who's been working in the background, and he's going to give our general evaluation.
Hello, my fellow Toastmasters. So I've been missing in action for a few weeks now. I've missed a few meetings to do with work and other obligations I've had. So it's great coming back finally to the meetings, and I think I'm able to have a bit of a fresh eye, having been away for a little while. So, I really was happy to take on the role of general evaluator to give you guys a little heads up as to how you've been performing. A bit like how you don't see your own kids growing, but when your aunties and uncles come, they say, oh, it's so big. So basically, I really enjoyed tonight's meeting. I mean, it didn't disappoint. It had the same, fun, alive energy that I've remembered the last time I was here. I'm going to start with, I'm going to go through each of the roles, one by one, and give a little feedback for each of the roles that haven't been evaluated by any of the evaluators so far. So I'm starting off with Francesca, who was the greeter for us. And Francesca is Spanish, and I've come to expect a warmth, friendly energy from any Spanish person I know, and she definitely didn't disappoint. So she greeted everyone and made everyone feel welcome. There was a lot of humor in there. She seemed like she was very comfortable just having a chat with anyone like you do over a glass of sangria. Now, I also noticed that, Francesca, your English has improved a lot. You don't say, I remember when you first started, you would say a lot to think about which words you want to say, but I didn't notice you saying any of that this time. So, well done to you as well. One recommendation, I could only see your head in the camera, so try to sit back a bit from the camera, or maybe adjust the position so we could see maybe at least up to your chest, which allows us to see your expressions a bit better. Moving on to Nick, the Zoom master. He is operating in the background. He gave a great introduction of his role, and he gave us a clear explanation of how he's going to use the recordings that he's making. So well done to you, Nick, and the meeting ran seamlessly, so you must have been doing a great job. Ugne, who was the acting president. Well, Ugne, one thing about you that always stands out is your warmth. And as if that wasn't good enough, you had to put a fireplace in the background as well to bring the heat up even more. So well done to you. Although you switched the fire off midway through the meeting, so I don't know what happened there, I was thinking of singing that song, Relight My Fire, but Pei was doing a great job, so I didn't want to interrupt. You gave us a great motivating story about how we can run marathons, and basically it's our own limiting beliefs that make us not do certain things, and I think that was a great way to start the meeting on a positive note. We're moving on to Diane. She was our timekeeper. She was very exact in the way she spoke, very formal, and I think that's great for the timekeeper's role because it's a very exact role. So I think you did a great job. You explained really clearly. You showed us the colors as you were explaining what to look for. So that's exactly what we like to see from the timer. As well, I'd give you the same recommendation as Francesca. We could only see the top of your head, so it would be better to be a bit further back from the camera. But apart from that, great job. The R-counter Sept, I really liked your energy, Sept. You started off with some Persian words, and you had a big smile and a big warmth about the way you presented. So that was great. You gave a good explanation of what the role is, very thorough. One recommendation, when you're giving the feedback at the end, instead of calling each name and then saying they had none, perhaps you can say, the following people didn't have any filler words, and then just list the names. So that way you're more efficient with your time. And then you can list the people who actually had filler words individually as well. So, but you did a great job. I think this is the first time you're doing that role, so well done to you. Grammarian Martina. One thing that stood out for me, Martina, is that you have a very good pace when you speak. You're very well paced. You pause instead of using filler words or so, and that was great. I like the use of your props where you brought all the words onto the screen, and then it was a little different that you chose 3 words to give people a bit of more options. People might have mixed feelings about that, but I liked it because some people might find it easier to use certain words than others. So it gives them more chance of the words being used. And we're gonna move on to the star of the show, Pam, who was our Toastmasters for today. Pam, I must say you did an amazing job. You kept the meeting flowing really well throughout. you seemed very natural, very comfortable speaking to us. You know, it almost came across like, you know, you're in your living room with your friends, just having a good chat and so on. So that allows, if there's any guests and stuff, new people in the meeting, that would allow them to relax as well, because, you know, you're showing the example of how to be relaxed with your energy. And you gave a great intro with the with your father's saying, which is how you came to the team for today. So that made us connect a little bit better with the team, since it's a bit more personal. You also gave a little comment after each speech about what the speaker said before you move on to the next, which linked the flow of the meeting very well. And okay, one thing I'd like to recommend, Pam, is that, you know, when you were concerned about whether to disqualify one of the speakers, I would say just own it, because I think you knew the answer to that, but you maybe, you know, was a bit didn't want to hurt his feelings or something like that. But you are the leader of the meeting, so you want to make it decisions with confidence, even if they're not so enjoyable to do. And I think my time is up. I would say that all the evaluators, they use the sandwich method, which I thought was great. You know, you gave a bit of positive feedback, you gave some recommendations, and then you ended on a high note, and that's exactly what we want to be doing, to encourage the speakers to move forward. So all in all, great meeting, guys. I really enjoyed it, and thank you for allowing me to be this general evaluator for today. And you know, hope to see you again soon in the next meeting. Thank you. Back to you, P.
Thank you, Roger, for a really comprehensive report. No stone was left unturned. That was great. And thank you for being the general evaluator, because I know I did send lots of messages out last week asking people to get involved. So at this point, it gives me great pleasure, not to mention immense relief, to hand you back to our acting president, Ugni.
Thank you very much, Pam. As I mentioned previously, it was quite incredible, astonishing, astounding, phenomenal. And I've not used that one, so just pull them all at once. Event, and Pam shared great stories, and it was the first time we actually had this speech marathon. So I wonder, how did it felt with you? How did you feel about this event? Give me some energy. How was it? Is it good? Are we still alive? We're still thinking. I want to ask if anybody has any breakthrough stories, any inspiring moments. Every meeting we get to know each other even more and more, and it's brilliant what the teamwork can actually accomplish. This meeting was a special one, a marathon of speeches. So without further ado, I'd like to go into the awards, because that's what we're all still here for, aren't we? We're waiting for these awards. Give me some drums, and I will share my screen with you in a second. Keep the energy up. Sep, are you still there? Where is your energy? Where is your energy?
Hey.
Let me share the screen. How do I share the screen? Nick.
A button beside record and chat.
Oh, share screen. This acting president thing. Pay. You know it. You're the only one who knows how to do it.
Alt, Shift and S, I think.
Shift and S.
Alt, Shift, S, I think.
Alt, Shift, S. Apologies for. Yes, that's some magic. And let me move it here. Okay, bring back the energy, people. Bring back the energy. So here it goes. The awards of Manchester Communicators, and the first award of the day goes to the best evaluator, and that is Pei Rong Chen. Give her a round of applause for Pei. She's back as an evaluator and she's shown what she's got. The second best evaluator is, give me some drums, give me some drum roll, 3 and 2, and give me some smiles and some more energy. Next best evaluator, we're gonna have 2 today, people. It's a special event, isn't it? It's Elena. Give it a round of applause for Elena. And now we are moving to the best speakers. We had 5 speakers tonight, and we have only 2 best speakers for this show. So give me some drums quickly. Give me some drums quickly, drums. And we've got Ellen as the best speaker. Give it a round of applause for Ellen. And one more time, people. Give me all you've got. Give me all the drums you've got. Give me all the drums you've got. The next best speaker is Julian. Congratulations, Julian. So that is it for tonight. And I hope we're all satisfied with our teamwork and we all had a great show. So what is left is to do an after party. Mrs. Real President.
Thank you, Agni, for doing such an amazing job for acting president. And because of her, I'm able to take a different role today. I really appreciate that. You did such a fantastic job. The remaining of the evening, I think, is really an extraordinary experience where we only have our own members and feel really close-knitted, right? It's like we're all very comfortable tonight. And so I think the remainder of the time, I like to do 2 things. One thing is, because our next meeting is coming up very quickly on the 7th, we only have 7 days to prepare. I want to encourage you, if you would like to take a role, we still have various roles on. Can I fill the roles now? Can I just, it's like a bidding thing, like just raise up your hand if you want to do evaluator role to save the time. Any takers for next meeting?
Pei, it's not like that. Pei, it's not like that. It's Paul, you are doing an evaluation. Elena, you are doing an evaluation, and that's how it works.
Yes, I will. I will appoint people, right? No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's really fun. I think let's all try to help the next Toastmaster. He's also quite new. He's from before he was from the Spirit Club, and today we've seen how Pam has shined through her style and gave us such a great high quality caliber of Toastmaster. And so to show that support to the next guy Buck Club, please all try to take a role if you can. That leaves for maybe some more discussion about Christmas. I know some people would like to use this opportunity. Feel free to unmute your microphone. I'd like to invite everyone. Really, let's have some ideas maybe. Ola, should we utilize this time, or if I don't know if Nick wants to say something? And welcome, Nick.
Hi, apologies for late. I had a briefing. Oh yeah. Somebody asked me, "Where's your hat this week?" So I found a hat. So
you have a hat theme in another meeting. Okay. Yeah. So.
Did you want me to say something, or?
It's up to you. If not, we can discuss about we have an event, right, for the 21st, which is the Christmas, or if anybody wants to chip in or share anything, or what they've observed, what they felt like, or.
Sorry, Pei, can I just have 30 seconds for something happening on Saturday?
Yes, of course.
VTM.com, virtual Toastmasters, 5 world-class speakers, 2 world-class contests. You don't have to come for the whole lot. Come for an hour or 2. You'll be blown away. Sign up with vtm.toastmost.org. We've got a listing of the speakers, all the information. Sign up there and see you there. Thank you. I'm co-chair, by the way, for that.
Can you send a link, Nick, to the the chat box for us. Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you.
Okay. Okay. Do we have something else that we need to discuss? If not, yeah. Yes, Nick.
So sorry to monopolize, but something that we discussed last night, perhaps?
Yeah, yeah, we could talk about that. If Ola's not gonna talk about the Christmas
Okay,
thing.
so Ola is just waiting for the chairperson of the committee, which is Ugne, to have a voice before he can talk.
Should we go with Nick's?
Go with Nick, then we'll revert back in next week when Nick is done.
Yeah, we'll come back to Ugne later to prepare.
Folks, what happens when you get too much of a good thing? You want a bit more, don't you? Now, I don't know whether you've noticed, but we only come here every one or two, twice a month, right? Hands up who wants to do a bit more. I know I do. Well, what's going to happen is that from a date in January, we're going to be having more meetings on a Monday night when Manchester Communicators is not meeting, because we're going to have a sister club starting up called Digital Communicators. Digital Communicators because we want to help people present themselves even better than they do today. Those people who are driven, who have the mindset to want to learn more. It's not for everybody, it's okay. But you're more than welcome to attend, everybody. Come and have some fun, come and see what it's like. More details will be with you in due course. So this is coming to you on a Monday night in your inbox. Thank you very much, Pei.
Okay, silence.
Okay, fellow Toastmasters and guests, we believe many of us are looking forward to an Xmas activity party. And from the committees, we're also looking to making that happen. We have two options. We've picked the date 21st of December, which is our last meeting for the year. So mark your date, don't miss out. We are planning two options. Option A is to have a meeting as always, whereby the speakers give their speech. We have evaluations, then we have part two, which is the Xmas aspect, which is going to be involving table topic sections, competitions, and a lot of things to be unveiled. Fingers crossed. Then the second aspect is either we just have an event on the 21st, to just be a Christmas evening event. So those are the two options we're deliberating on. We have concerns of the second option, whereby we feel 2 hours may become boring at some point just for Christmas activity. That's why the option